Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek, and now we have, of course, picked up Vern. What I'm thinking is that we should do any other last-minute preparations before we ultimately head up onto the flying saucer and see if we can take out this MORIC guy. And so, one thing that was coming to mind is, of course, when we were doing that arena run recently, we found that we started to run out of some of the status removal items, things like the balloon juice and motion potion. So I think that we probably want to make sure that we load back up on those and maybe sell some of our items that we have duplicates of. I was saying earlier how you want to be mindful of if and when you do that because you want to make sure that you still have the ability to learn whatever skills you have that you can get from those items. So let's make sure that we keep at least one of an item that allows us to learn a given skill. But in this case, you'll see we have multiple breastplates, and for the most part, we'll have... Actually, this might be a good item to hold on to, because that might be our highest pure defense chestplate. However, copper breastplate, for example, has minus 20% defensive reaction, whereas the chainmail does as well. Chainmail is just a worse version. Let's definitely sell the chainmails. That way, if we find that in the future, we have someone who would like to use that skill, or learn that skill, that they can still do so. However, they don't have to use the worst version of the item to get that done. And other than that, I think I also found that we have a bunch of the pole maces, which again is one of those staffs, which we currently cannot even equip, but let's hold on to at least one of them. But given now we have a few to spare, we can dump a few. Let's see, so Dugan has one at the moment. I think that's it. Anyone else? Yeah. Emma does also have one, so we can dump that. And at 200 coins apiece, that's potentially not insignificant. So it could add up and make it so that it's a little bit easier for us to either buy some of those other big items that we were talking about, like perhaps another Trilobite armor or belt of movement, and also those potions I was referring to earlier. Other than that, anything else that comes to mind? With the mace, we have at least one. We have multiple of those as well. Remember, yes, the mace is entirely different from the pole mace. Similar, however, one is the staff. One is technically a sword, because reasons. So, let's get rid of our duplicate mace. There was a time when we were thinking about potentially wanting to use this because it is a somewhat high base damage sword. However, we have since certainly found some replacements in that regard. So that has brought us almost up to 10,000. I think that might be a somewhat significant threshold because I think that the Trilobite armors, they are 5,000. And so we could get one of these now so that we can double up and make sure that if we have two people wanting to use that ability simultaneously, that's an option. That is tempting. If I remember correctly, I think that the belt of movement might also be 5,000. Let's double check. That it is. So at the moment, we can't afford both. However, that would be really nice. We are very close to being able to do that. Are there perhaps other things that we can sell that we have duplicates of? I'm looking for the axe that I was looking at in Mardek's inventory. Unfortunately, it looks like we only have one of those. We do have duplicate breastplates, like I was saying before, and duplicate copper breastplates. Are we feeling... Oh, we actually have 3 copper breastplates. Okay. That brings us closer. And then you could even sell some of your crafting items. Like if you loaded up on things like a human skull and old bones and zombie dust and dead hands. Wow. Then that can actually become pretty significant, as you're seeing there. That is tempting. Let's split this stack a bit. So yeah, that value you were seeing there previously was for all 7 of the dead hands, so that's why it looks so huge. Whereas if we split them out, we see that an individual one is worth 150, which is still not bad. And makes it a little bit... Oh, in fact, actually, we dead hands on every character, seemingly. And so that would suggest that perhaps it's not the end of the world if we were to offload some of these. So let's sell maybe a couple. Oh, we could actually specify how many we want to sell on that screen there, so that is useful. So in that case, we could afford both another Belt of Movement, which I think will be nice, because like I was saying earlier, the defense, sure, it's not bad. We have some items that are better than just 2 defense, but 3 agility is a lot, and resistance to paralysis, we saw in the arena at least one occasion where it nearly became very significant, almost ruined our arena run, so want to be mindful of that. And the Trial Bite armor is just generally extremely good, so having 2 of those I think will also be useful. So, let's take a quick check as to, from a skills standpoint, how are we looking? For example, Vern is getting close to mastering some things, however is not quite there. We'd love to get the chance to put on Trilobite armor or some other chestplate in place of Zack's armor, because Zack's armor is primarily, first and foremost, something that you use for those double defensive reactions, and then afterward, you can probably do better than just getting 3 defense. We have several things that will give 4 or better, in addition to other components that are potentially useful too. So let's go back to the miscellaneous shops person. Oh, actually, is this the one that... This is not the person that sells the potions. That person, I believe, is up and to the right. These don't have... Oh, there it is. Okay. Hiding in the corner. So, what I'm thinking of is balloon juice. We have 3 on Emila, 2 on Vern, 1 on Mardek, and 2 on Dugan. So, on average, about 2 per person. That's something, but it's not great given how we are relying exclusively on this item and also the remedies to get rid of the numbness effect. So that's a little unnerving, and we don't have many ways in which to do that. Motion Potion, however, is even worse, because we'll see Dugan has 1, Hemla has 1, Vern has 0, and Mardek has 0. Again, we do have some remedies hanging around, which is potentially our get-out-of-jail-free card, but that is still concerning. So how much are these motion potions? They're only 20. So I think that is very nice to be able to get those up on the cheap. And let's make sure that we give them to party members that, you know, don't have them yet. So, okay, in this case, everyone has at least 1, if not 2. And then the motion potions. Oh, the other thing was, not liquid light. It was this, holy water. I think this was more so an instance of us just not spreading this out amongst our different characters. We had a bunch on Mardek, but we otherwise did not have any on anyone else, which put us in a bit of a bind. And we could potentially distribute that a little bit more amongst different people. I'm trying to think of who it will be most significant to have those items. I think it might be least significant on Vern and Dugan, because their normal attacks are going to be fairly strong. So if they can't remove a curse, for example, it's not necessarily going to be the end of the world. Whereas if Emla can't do that, then she's stuck with her normal attacks. Those are quite weak, so that would be a pretty big handicap. And as for Mardek, as our primary healer, it's important for him to be able to use those skills. Oh, actually, Dugan has a bunch. I did not realize that. Okay. In that case, we definitely don't need to purchase more. I would say it's more so just a case of, yes, continuing to distribute. So, it still gives Dugan 6 in total. Let's give some to Emila in that case, and a little bit more to her. Mardek still has 2. And let's give 1 more to Mardek. And now, you don't necessarily need to have the person equipping the item that they're going to use on their self, because remember, Mardek could use a holy water to remove a curse on Vern or Emila if that was something we thought was worthwhile. However, in the worst case scenario, say Mardek is the only person left, and Dugan, Emila, Vern all go down, Mardek gets cursed, and you really need to heal, then if you don't have a holy water on Mardek, then you're in trouble. I mean, you're probably already in trouble, or you're even more in trouble. So, that is something that I think will help us out, making sure that we have all those. The other things I'm looking at is now liquid sound. Hasn't been terribly relevant thus far. There haven't been too many people who have hit us with... Or actually, there have been many people who have hit us with blindness. I shouldn't say that. We have a fair bit of immunity to it, however, with Bright Eyes on several characters, and just equipping the Onyx Ring alone will give us 100% resistance to blindness, so that's helpful. I think for that reason, we're less in need of that. And then we already have plenty of antidotes. Those certainly drop the most often. I think liquid sound was actually what I was thinking of, because I see Vern doesn't have any. Emma has a few. That's probably significant, because that is, again, a particular status effect that is most harmful, generally speaking, against spellcasters, so important to have that on Emila. Dugan has some as well. Mardek has none. Okay, so with our few remaining coins, let's pick up a couple of these. And we'll put a couple on Mardek, and then we'll steal a few from, say, Dugan. Put them on Vern. Okay. I think that puts us in a much better place now. Of course, if you have money to spare, then picking up a few extra Phoenix Downs is never a bad idea, given how they do allow you to bring back someone who gets taken out in combat. So that's your real get-out-of-jail-free card. So, that being said, though, I think we have now picked up all the main things that we want to make sure that we pick up before we head on out. Because remember, as the shaman was saying earlier, when you do opt to go up into the battleship, that's that. It is, in many ways, your quote-unquote point of no return. So make sure that if there are items that you want to pick up, skills you want to master, people you want to talk to, that you do that before you do this. I suppose we could, fight a zombie if you felt like it. In case there were any last-minute things that came to mind when we actually go up to this screen here. But I think for the most part, we should be ready to go. Yes, we did recently reacquire Vern, so he is still a fair bit behind the others in terms of level, experience, therefore life, MP, and certainly, as we saw previously, his RP and mastered skills as well. So that does put us in a bit of a tricky place with him specifically. However, I think he is strong enough. He will be more than capable of still pulling that off. Just doing a last-minute check here in terms of abilities to see how we're doing there. Oh, well, that's no good. And this we, at some point, may want to throw on, but at the moment, it's not an option because we don't have enough RP. Alright, so I think we're in good shape here. So let's speak to the shaman and head on up. And so it really is a matter of personal preference here as to how much you want to do, making sure that you level up characters, master as many skills as possible. So I'm curious, for you guys in the comments, let me know, do you prefer to master absolutely everything before you head into these big fights here? Or do you want to make sure that you get just the things that you feel like are most significant? Or do you just say, pick up what I can along the way, not going to go out of my way to spend any additional time leveling up and mastering skills? So, I suppose we took a little bit of a middle ground here. We did a little bit of additional grinding, but certainly went far from mastering everything in preparation for heading up here. So as we've seen before, when we talk to the shaman, I can teleport you into the dark cloud from here when you're ready. But you must keep in mind that you likely will not be able to return until the deed is done. Do whatever needs doing here before you tackle this, And I think, like I was saying, on this occasion, feeling ready. This is it, then. Granted, you probably should take the hint from this save crystal and maybe save just before, in case you find yourself going, oh man, we just missed picking up that one item from the shop that I totally forgot about, or something of that sort. Makes it a little easier to double back. I give you my blessings, and wish you as much luck as I can muster. Delphan is depending on you, my children. Now is the time to live that dream of yours. Teleport! Okay. Well, we're here. This is MORIC'S battleship. Beyond your primitive comprehension, eh, humans? Well, it's so... wow! Certainly different to anything that I've ever seen on Belfan anywhere. How very alien! We must be careful. Enukai battleships are as dangerous to enemies on the inside as they are on the outside. They have many high-tech and effective security systems. Security system? What does that involve? Monsters, apparently. Random battles. Because that makes sense, of course. At least, it's something you can handle, I suppose. Anyway, there's no time for talking now. We have to get to Moric, wherever he is. Come on. Okay, so, let's take a look here at our map, and, well, not much we can make out of this. Let's talk to some people, because it's actually been a long time since we spoke to our friends. Rowoff, what do you have to say about this area? And based on the music you hear in the background, you can tell that although we are, of course, in this new and unusual place, this will actually be a conversation more generally about character. So, if your planet is so great, Rowoff, why are you here? It was an accident. Believe me when I say I'd rather not be here at all. My presence here, and my current dependent state, bring me much shame. But it seems that your planet has a particularly unusual gravitational field, for some reason unbeknownst to me. The craft I was in was a frail one, and couldn't fight against the pull, so I crashed here. Then I died, and you found me, and here I am. Well, that still doesn't tell me why you were flying around here in the first place, rather than sitting at home, reading stories around a fire with your friends. Ah, yes. I did fail to elaborate on that, didn't I? I suppose I'll indulge your human curiosity. You've earned that much from me. The Enukai used to be a great race, run by a high council, the governance de Magi, of which I was a member. I and the others were overseers of our entire world, and it ran like clockwork, a society built on beautiful order. But then, that order became chaos when a strange meteorite fell from the sky one day. It was brought to us, the council, to decide what to do with it, and as soon as they saw it, my fellow governors became enraptured by it for some reason. It corrupted their minds. The friends I once knew and loved gradually died, and were replaced by monsters inhabiting their shells. Perhaps not literally, they didn't look any different, but it was still the same. They changed their views, their policies, and became more brutal, more merciless. They became tyrants, and it seemed they were unaware that they were changing at all. I had to do something, to return Anshar to order and to light, so I tried destroying the meteorite, the violet crystal, as we came to call it, but they caught me and sentenced me to be executed. I escaped. I fled to consider my next move, and here I am now, years later, and no closer to my goal. Well, I'd love to help you destroy that crystal thingy. Indeed, you will be helping me too, when you are ready. That day is not yet here. Come along now. We've more immediate matters of concern to attend to. Okay, that's some very interesting detail from Rowoff. Finally getting a better understanding as to why exactly he's here, what exactly got him in this situation, where he crash-landed on Belfan. Let's talk to him again, though, because we did not, of course, hear his opinion on where we currently are. Despite the dire circumstances, I can't help but feel rather chuffed to be inside a construction of my own race once more. I've been rather homesick, and this relieves that somewhat. But I freely admit that this is not the time for that, and that North must be stopped. We must hurry, as the fate of your world hangs in the balance. That's more like it. Okay, as for Dugan? You know, Mardek, there's something that I've been meaning to tell you for basically all my life. Or, since as long as I can remember, anyway. I feel that, since we're on this journey together now, you have a right to know. It's nothing bad or anything, it's just, well, it's something I try to ignore, anyway. I don't want you thinking it influences me utterly. Ugh. Well, what is it? I'm jealous of you. Jealous? Why? Oh, loads of reasons. Silly, petty reasons mostly. It's not really worth mentioning, actually, but I'll try to explain it anyway, since I said I would. Your dad, Enki. He's a great adventurer. He always used to be this great, legendary figure in my mind. He radiated awe. I always wanted to be an adventurer like him. But my dad? A mere shopkeeper. He didn't inspire me at all. You have the blood of legends in your veins. I just... well... and you're just sort of... always found things easier than I have. I may not let it show, but I worry. A lot. About everything. I pretend I'm not, but I do. But you don't look like you're covering anything up, or pretending. You just don't seem to worry at all. You're so carefree, and I envy that. You just have this natural confidence, whereas mine's a mask that's a chore to wear. A lot of planning and concentration goes into keeping up what you do without thought. Everyone's always liked you more too, for some reason. They always talk to you when we were together rather than me, and you got along with them too, all friendly-like, whereas they seemed ill at ease around me. Too intense, I am, I've heard people say, whatever that even means. I think things just come easier to you, mate. Like, you've been dealt a better hand, your luck stat is higher, that kind of thing. And I'm jealous of that. So there, I said it. I said it wasn't worth mentioning, so, don't worry about it. Really, don't. Forget I even said anything, even. I don't want you worried. You ruined what I'm jealous of, after all. Interesting insights from Dugan. However, I think that still doesn't really reflect his opinions on where we currently are. This place is so... I don't even know what to think of it. It seems to be made of metal, of all things, but like some big floating building. There's so much that I don't understand, but crave to. I'd love to thoroughly explore this place, every nook and cranny, and try to understand everything about it. But we've got to hurry, don't we? Oh. Okay. So that's Dugan. Let's check in with Emila. Hello again. Why do you seem so nervous when I talk to you sometimes? Oh, well, I just don't expect it, you know? And, you interrupt my thoughts, maybe? Or, actually, it's more than that. You see, I'm not so good at these social interaction things. I didn't have many friends when I was little, or, well, any, really. So it's just me and my parents and, my folks. I could talk to my mom just fine, but I was sort of scared of my father. He was really distant all the time, and he and I just didn't see eye to eye, but I never had other people my age to practice talking to. This is really embarrassing to admit, but, much of what I learned was from self-help books. But you seem fine at the guard briefings and stuff. I, practiced, sort of. Or I kept thinking things over in my head and practiced the sort of things that I might expect to say. I tried to speak up, like when I asked Jacques what he meant by stop the bandits, because I thought it was expected of me, but it was never easy, and I felt really nervous. It was also easier when there were a few of us, and all eyes weren't on me. Oh, and, Steely. I hated him. I really did, but he brought out raw emotion, hate, in me. And that sort of got rid of my anxiety and made me snappier than I ever thought I could be. Now that you're looking at me all expectantly, as if I'm supposed to reveal something about my character that would be interesting to you, I feel like I have to perform perfectly, but like I might fail, and it makes me scared, and, well, you've done fine. You're better than you think at this. Yay! Thanks, Mardek. I suppose it wasn't too hard after all, but now that I've said my bit, can you, get back to focusing on the adventure now and not me? Thanks. So there's Emila. However, again, I suspect that she has something to say about this battleship. I can't help but feel absolutely terrified that we're going to end our lives here. Or at least one of us is. I don't want to lose any of you. I'm scared. This is certainly the highest stakes we've been in yet. Going onto a foreign battleship that supposedly has strong security measures. As for Vern, though, And again, with his own music, we can of course expect to have a more general discussion about him. Your lord has truly smiled on me for delivering you to me to assist me. I should make sure to pray fervently later, thanking him for his grace and charity. And to think that I cursed his name when he left me to die. I should have known that it was all part of his plan. It could even be said that he delivered me to you, to help you on whatever business you need to see to. You must thank the ever-benevolent Omnidragon for his great, amazing gift, and praise his name for all eternity. Well, why does Yalort need praise anyway? I do not understand what you mean. Well, if I gave someone a gift, I wouldn't want them to praise me. I'd probably prefer if they didn't, actually. I'd just be content with seeing them happy. Ha! You are no god. We merely must devote ourselves to Yalort, due to the sheer scale of the gift that he gave us. Existence itself can hardly compare to, say, some gaudy bauble you'd gift to a chum on his aging day. It is blasphemous to even consider not devoting one's life utterly as a servant to a being who was so kind and gracious as to give us all that we have. You know, like any good child would treat their father. Well, did you worship your dad every day and act like his servant and stuff? I never knew my family. I'll not get into that now. It strays from the point. Your lord is great, and that is that. I've had enough of this babbling for now. I've had enough of this babbling for now. I will have to pray that you will come to your senses and see the light soon. Okay. And does he have an opinion on the state of things? Maybe not. It seems like this might be another more generic check-in with him. What is it, my heathen friend? Have you found Yalort yet? No, in the past 5 seconds we have not. Well, I was curious about how you didn't know your family. You wish to know some kind of backstory, eh? Very well. Yalort instructs us to be honest and open about such things with strangers, I think. I am an orphan, as it was Yalort's will that my parents died before I ever knew them. I know absolutely nothing of them, as Yalort has seen fit to make my life devoid of any hints about who they ever were. About who they even were. Yalort made it so I do not question or hate this fact. All I know is that I was found in a basket on the doorstep of a Yalortian monastery in Aeropolis. The cultlings were well known for their charity and kindness, so some soul must have seen it fit to leave little baby Vern in their care. I'm northern by race, but grew up in the south. This was not easy, due to the attitudes in that part of the world to the people of my breed. I feel that this was a test by Yalort, a test of character. It hardened me. It's the strong, courageous, attractive man that I am today, and I'm glad of it. I was raised as a paladin, and that is what I am now. I carry out the will of Yalort in the world, wandering far from my monastery home, if need be, to aid the needy as Yalort wishes. Do you not see the greatness of Yalort in this story of mine? Are you not moved to tears of faith for this amazing deity that would gift this world with one such as I, and temper me into such a magnificent piece of work? You should be. Having heard my story, you are now educated. I encourage you to thank Yalort for me telling it to you. Be sure to pray later. Okay. More check-ins with Vern, however, we still don't know what he thinks of this location. Ah, this must be one of those places. Yes, I'm familiar with this place. Yes, a paladin is never caught off guard. Let's go. Alright, Vern, if you say so. And very large area. As for what to expect here, there's something. Not sure what. Perhaps say hello? Oi! They're an invader! That means I have to enter defense mode and kill you. Oh. I suppose this might be the security system. Defense.exe. Okay. The security orbs, they are insanely fast, with 20 agility. They are Earth Elemental, I would suspect that given how we, of course, are going into MORIC'S Battleship, and MORIC is Earth Elemental, the Earth Elemental Governance to Magi, the vast majority of people we expect to run into here are likely to be Earth as well. And they put up both a physical and magical shield here. And I assume they're probably weakest to air, because they are Earth? Yes, okay. So let's hit some people with lightning bolts, in that case. However, those magic shields were apparently enough to prevent us from taking down those security orbs. Actually, they are not even close to going down. They have a lot of defense. 10 normal defense and 10 magic defense as well. The Droma, on the other hand, only 3 and 3. So theoretically, that one might be a little bit easier to take out here. Let's... However, I think we want to use a barrier break on the security orb. As for whether that is strictly necessary, hard to say. But I think that'll make it easier for us to take it out. Except we should go for the Droma so that we can have it not go next. Because you see the turn order here, we have Vern, then it would be the Droma, and then it would be Mardek. So if we take the Droma out now, we can make sure that it doesn't get the chance to do anything. Okay, success there. And then for Mardek, we remove the shield on, actually, the security orb with more HP. So this may not prove that successful, but Mardek does, of course, have his more powerful sword, so it's more than enough, actually. Oh, I missed that one. Uh-oh. That's a pretty powerful attack. Against Vern, no less, the character that we have with the least HP at the moment. So, by the first look of things, these guys might be kind of tough. However, getting some holy water, I mean, we were just trying to pick up some of that earlier, so that's nice to see. Likewise with the motion potions. And the Phoenix down as well. Very valuable stuff. So that's not bad. Let's take another look at what else we can find in here. And if we look at the map, we will find that this thing that is right next to us is actually a chest with another Phoenix down. So that's also very nice. This is another one here. More holy water. And at the moment, Mardek and Emla have the least of that. So let's continue trying to pick up more of those chests. And here's a random battle in which we find lots of Dromas. Let's see if we can take them out here. They seem to be generally a little bit easier to take out than the security orbs. However, Emla still unfortunately cannot deal enough damage, at least when she's attacking all of them simultaneously. If she were to focus on just one of them at a time, might be able to take one out. And in fact, that might be the way to go going forward. Because at this rate, there's definitely going to be at least 2 that are going to have the chance to take a turn here. If not more, depending on whether Vern can take one out. I'm thinking that... I don't know if he can do 125 damage, but he can certainly do 72, right? But, well, I should have believed in him more. Okay, looks like he healed the other Droma. With grim energy, no less. Just a little concerning. Actually, I'm curious. The Droma are their own category, Droma. I was wondering if they are technically robots of some sort? Or are they undead? Because, of course, MORIC is the Necromancer. That doesn't seem to be the case. So we were seeing earlier that Mardek has a lot of damage. I'm not sure that he has 318. I should be taking closer note of this because, well, it looks like on 2 occasions now I've underestimated how much damage we can deal. Now we can see a single target magic attack. Yes, Emla is capable of taking them out. So that is good to know as well. And more very useful items. So even if they are capable of dealing their fair share of damage to us, that is good to see. We can also perhaps make that worthwhile. And, so remember those green dots are the NPCs, and in this case, I believe that would mean the Dromos that we ran into one of earlier. So, oh, that's a random battle though. And we do still see zombies here. Oh, and stun. Okay, so that's not good to see. Of course, that has been a difficult status effect for us to remove in the past. However, that does also mean that the security orb did not take this opportunity to put up a shield. So that might be reason enough to try to hit it here. Even though it's already gone. We should have plenty of time to take out the zombies because they are quite slow. But we're going to want to get rid of that paralysis as soon as possible. This is probably unnecessary to go Smite Evil or Disrupt Undead on this guy. Should have enough damage here. Yes, we do. Okay. just like that, we pick up a motion potion. So we did take another belt of movement from the shop before we headed up here. And that was partially the reason why, was because we were interested in making sure that we could master locomotion and or just generally resist paralysis. So let's put this on instead of the green beads, I think is what we had previously, which was just mostly giving a little bit of earth resist, some pretty solid magic defense, probably the strongest component of that item, and a little bit of vitality. But I think at least at the moment, given how it looks like enemies can make us paralyzed fairly easily, that having 100% resistance to paralysis might be the way to go. And let's take one of the motion potions from whoever has the most right now. Well, everyone has two. So we'll do that to remove it from Dugan. Let's check up here. That is a Droma. This is another one of those chests. And more Phoenix Downs. So that's good to see. We'll try to pick up as many of those chests as we can get. I don't actually know if these Droma will actively seek us out. They're not gonna, like, actually chase after us, so to speak. But, oh, I missed that one. If, say, we were to walk in their line of sight, would they initiate an encounter with us? I don't think so. Okay, this is another example of a time when the security orb opted to go offensively rather than defensively, so it's much easier to take it out. These zombies are comparatively no big deal. Vern, however, has taken several hits here. So I think what we do is we will take out the zombie with him, except if I totally miss the reaction, in which case we'll take him out with Mardek. But then I was going to say, we should probably make a point of healing outside of battle with Mardek. Or give Vern a dead hand. Make sure he's part of the party. Just to make sure that Vern doesn't fall behind too much and become at risk of falling in one of these fights. Now, if that Droma could say, like, get out of the way, that'd be very helpful. Okay, and I believe this is kind of the transition to the other side of the battleship, sort of. Oh? This is a magical crystal used to power the ship. There are 6 of them, forming a kind of magical circle, like those that wizards on Leaderboards sometimes use. This whole craft is round because it's built around the magic circle. They're imitations of true planetary elemental crystals, basically just pure magic in physical form. It'll be a long time before people on Belpen have anything nearly as powerful as this. I'm awed by our own greatness sometimes. I really am. Especially compared to the peasant savages on this. Ya Lord forsaken mudball. What? Oh, nothing. I suppose that being on board this battleship gives me thoughts of home. Perhaps I can even use it when we're finished here. Anyway, we must go now and stop mooring. No time for idle banter. Okay, let's pick up that chest there. And I think this is probably a good place for us to leave off here because we have a lot more to explore. I'm going to sign off here, but I'll catch you next time.